an organization that addresses itself to the musicians, to the preservation of jazz and blues, to the understanding and the development of our youth. I know we're closing, but I just want you to smile on that because you know what? We're going to do a whole show on the Jamming Foundation.
Great.
And we have a guest that's going to be here. We're going to do a whole show on the Jamming Foundation. This is kind of a review because I wanted to be sure that you knew the legacy. Not only you support what you build, but may Dal Scott rest in peace, came, laid down a foundation, made the world a better place, and made sure that folks understood that music, it's part of the soul of humanity, the understanding and the history of gospel, blues, and jazz in her own words. And that's why I wanted to really bring in some footage that we had communicated and shot here in the studio while she was here with us, in order to also even preserve her memory and again to support that what she left here as a legacy. So we in the Jazz Zone took it upon ourselves, and with her permission, in fact, with her tutelage, she said, Roscoe, you cannot allow the Jamming Foundation to dissipate. It must continue to go on. And so with that, I worked with our past president of the Jamming Foundation, who was Mr. Michael Dauphin, which we have a tape that will show you some things of there. And also with another one of the young men that has been working and had been working with Dal Scott McDuff, and that is Frank Jenkins from Frank Jenkins Enterprises. And he is the treasurer to the Jamming Foundation. So what we did with the foundation is allow it to saute is a word that I use, let it simmer. Be sure that we continue to brand and keep the word and the understanding that the foundation would not stop, and we will continue to educate folk on the aspects of gospel, blues, and jazz. And what we've been able to do with the Jazz Zone was to add in our flavor with that, and that was about the aspect of art, music, and science collectively together brings the Jamming Foundation forward to another particular level and motion. What I'd like to do is to come to a point whereas what are we doing right now? And I think there's a photo that I'd like to show on a show and a beginning for this show, which is called Jammin' 2010. And on here is a still, and this is a project that was brought together through an individual named Linda Morgan, and her organization is called Smooth Ahead. And that is the combination of smooth jazz and straight ahead jazz, because the idiom and the movement of jazz has moved into another smooth element as it related to when we started the show and spoke of the Central Avenue, and the foundation of the West Coast jazz was really about straight ahead jazz. But as anything that will stand a test of time, it continues to evolve. And it evolved into an aspect, as you see, blues had matched up with R&B and became another kind of flavor. Gospel took on from a tradition to a utilizing, I'm going to say rap, but that's not really the word that I want to use in terms of the communication of gospel music, in terms of using the language and the genre of the time, but also in jazz with it becoming smooth jazz to straight ahead jazz. And the marriage in where she had pulled this from, Linda Morgan, was Smooth Ahead, which was really wonderful. And I had the opportunity to be at an event that she did in the legacy of music and the legacy of jazz musicians. And consequently, we were able to join forces, which is another main aspect of the Jammin Foundation in terms of joining forces. And that we started back with Doll Scott the aspect of jamming in the zone. And that was the relationship and the foundation building of Jazz Zone and the Jammin Foundation. Now, with the Smooth Ahead and Jammin and the Jazz Zone, we were able to move forward the aspect of communication and keeping jazz alive, keeping the Jammin Foundation live and well, and teaching within that counter aspect of being sure that we give an understanding to those that have come and are living legends. So just the other day, 2010, the Jammin Foundation and Smooth Ahead Jazz did the Jazz Jam. That Jazz Jam was also moderated by one of the musical directors of the Jammin Foundation, and his name is Jacques LeSure, and also, again, the president of the Jammin Foundation, past, is Mr. Michael Dolphin. They were the moderators, and we honored two outstanding female artists, and that was because this month, the month of March, is the International Women's Month. And in that, we had Cora Bryant. Cora Bryant, fabulous trumpet player, at 17 grew up right on Central Avenue and was able to play with all the greats and became one of those that is great. Also, another honoree was Rose Gales, who was married to an absolutely fantastic bass player, and to her own right, absolutely outstanding pianist. And in that, I'd like to show a roll-in from what we did last night on the Move and the Smooth Ahead Jazz Zone Jammin' in the Zone project that is in regards to the legacy.
We have to invest in what matters to us. We have to be a part of that, because if Los Angeles is the capital of forgetting, it's our fault. Because there is a history here. Central Avenue. You know, Jefferson High School graduated Dexter Gordon, Chico Hamilton, Buddy Collette, Charles Mingus, Jesse Belvin, the Olympics, the Coasters, Alvin Ailey, Dorothy Dandridge, and Dr. Ralph Bunch. Who remembered that? Well, Sonny did. And you know, there was a kid who came down from Oakland who came down to figure out what we were doing, and who became one of the biggest influences ever in the world of music. His name was Iannis Veliotis. Nobody? Iannis Veliotis changed his name to Americanize himself to Johnny Otis. He is not African American. He's Greek. And look what he helped do because of the influence of Central Avenue. So it's an important piece of the things that should be important to us. Because we can't talk about it's not important to somebody else. We can't talk about what the music companies talk about with artists. We have to support that. So be certain that you're aware of the next event, to hear for some of this conversation, so we can figure out ways to do it. Because I'll tell you, I am going to make certain, as long as I'm breathing, that we do what we need to do to keep the Central Avenue history alive. I'm dedicated to that. So, all the ladies brought CDs, and they're at the tables around here. Please buy CDs. Please show your appreciation to the ladies for participating in our panel.
The ladies that participated in our panel. absolutely awesome. That was Miss Loretta Shelby, uh, also Miss Johnson, Maria Johnson, and the fabulous one right in the center. Who was that? Uh, the name escapes me, but for this second, but it will come back to me and just blow my mind and yours as well. But that was Michael Dolphin in terms of him giving an understanding of what was going on the Central Avenue and how important that was. Now, Michael Dolphin's father was a very, very important figure to Central Avenue as well, and that was because he owned Dolphins of Hollywood, one of the most outstanding record stores that came alive in those days in the late 40s and that. So, at any rate, what we're going to do in terms of showing and closing out on the Jamming Foundation and what we have, there is Barbara Morrison, who is the center person on the panel. And Barbara Morrison has been singing in Los Angeles for some time and all around, and she has performed in various different festivals. She has a festival coming up in what they call Juneteenth. And as you stay tuned to the Jammin Foundation website, which is jamminfoundation.org. That's JAMMIN foundation.org. And look up and see what we're doing, because that series and another panel will be on the last Thursday of each month at the Regency West in Los Angeles. So please tune in to jamminfoundation.org and find out what is going on so you can also support what we're building. The foundation of the Jammin Foundation, it is my pleasure to again introduce or reintroduce Miss Doll Scott McDuff, and in her own words, various memories. My name is Roscoe Lee Owens, and I am your host in the Jazz Zone. And this is Jammin' in the Zone 2010. And please stay tuned to upcoming series that we have for you, Jazz Zone style. Enjoy life with God's blessings, and thank you so much for tuning in.